having my morning coffee, my one morning coffee, and enjoying the hell out of it. I really am. My cat's looking at me like, "What are you doing on the floor?" Well, I just finished my sit ups, cleaned myself up, and I thought, I'm pretty pleased. I'm pleased with myself. I'm pleased with the fact that I'm 65 and I can still do 70 sit ups and I can pump them out fast. So, yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm a little bit, I shouldn't say, because pride comes before a fall, but I'm patting myself on the back and I'm thinking, damn, yeah, you got it, girl. You still got it. You can still keep yourself, alive and healthy and going down the right road. I'm not smoking anymore. I don't drink. I gave up. I did all those things in my youth. I don't need them now. I really don't need them now. And I had to make a choice between what was good for me and what was bad for me. And this is what I chose. So, yeah, that's why I'm on the floor because it's comfortable down here. I can sit like cross-legged, look at my Christmas ornaments. I'm trying to show it to you without trying to make a big kerfuffle of everything. So yeah, so the tree looks really nice, and I was looking through the family book. I bought a family book for my husband when we were married. And then I had to rededicate it because I got divorced, but because I wasn't giving this up, it has all the family treasures in it. And it's going to my kids. So there's a lot of stuff in here that the kids would love to know, as they got older. And most of my kids they're older than I was when I was raising them. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, damn, time flies really fast. Like, you have no idea. So I was looking through this and I found something that I forgot all about. I forgot about it. Many years ago, when I first when I first was raising the kids on my own, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to further my education, and I'd already had a career in the military. I'd gotten out. I had been married. I had 3 children. I thought I want something more. I want something more for my kids, and I want to give them something to be proud of. And at that point in time, I didn't see the things that I was doing as positive. I didn't see them noteworthy. And I talked about that in my last video. And so I thought I want to do something else. Just because I have kids, just because I've been married, just because I'm divorced doesn't mean I can't have a life, right? I can't actually do something. So I thought I'm going to go back to school. Well, um, yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta kind of switch topic. I'm treating my lesion on my cheek. The other ones are almost gone, but this one's still kind of hanging in there. So that's what that is. That's baking soda. Um, okay, so let's get back to the story. So I wanted something more, and I looked at all the courses, and the course that appealed to me the most was the social worker course, and I signed up for it. I got accepted. I was low income, and so the church helped me out. I can't remember Father. I think is I think it was Father Pick. One of the priests um, would administer First Communion. Not First Communion. Uh, what do they call it in the church? Communion? Yeah, communion. Anyway, they would administer that to my mother, and so we were speaking to that individual, that priest, and he said our church will step in and help you if you want to go to school, but you have to complete the course. And I was, if anything, I was diligent and I was persevering and I was, like I said, determined to do something. I wasn't going to be cut off the same cloth as those in the past. Okay, those people that were in my connection. I mean, I have to sing my mother's laurels. I have to sing that she was a single mom, 6 kids, struggled vehemently, had PTSD severely many times in her life. And, she did what she had to do, but she could have made something of herself. She was very creative, very artistic. That's where I got the talent from. My brother's very talented in that area. She was pretty, she was young, she was single, and people took advantage of that. And, I do know that when we were growing up, she had a bill, a grocery bill at a local store. And they would take advantage of the fact, there were people that would take advantage of the fact that my mother was low income and that she would need groceries. And so, in order to pay off her grocery bill, she would do other services for them. Now, at one point, she was sewing clothes for a local charity. She was making doll clothes. She was fixing dolls. She was cutting up winter coats and making them into blankets, like to send to the poor countries. Like these are things that my mother did that nobody acknowledged. Nobody acknowledged. Everybody's willing to acknowledge the bad things you do, the mistakes you make, the indiscretions that you do. Everybody's willing to acknowledge that. But not everybody is willing to acknowledge the fact that you've done some good things in your life, some things that are noteworthy, okay? And, I didn't have a close connection to my mother. To this day, I don't feel a close connection to her, but I respect the strength that she had as a woman raising her kids. And she did. She had a lot of strength. She had a lot of weaknesses too. We all do. But she had a lot of strength, and nobody acknowledged her noteworthy things. Nobody acknowledged those things because they didn't care. It was no, never mind, right? Well, that's why I'm making this video, is because I want to acknowledge the person I am and how I became that person and what I did that was noteworthy. And I was looking through this book, this family book, and I found something that I had forgotten about. Like, I just can't believe I forgot about it. I had taken this social worker course, and I loved it because it got me thinking, and it questioned my intellect, and it questioned those things that were taking place in society, especially in politics. At that point in time, I was like vehemently interested in politics and what we were doing for the people in our community. Very interested. And so I had a teacher who was also very like-minded, and we would have lively discussions in class. I absolutely love this teacher. He was from a local village, and yeah, he's a bit of a rebel. Yeah, and it didn't fizz him to question society or to question those people in positions of power. He was just like, I respected that man so much. Anyhow, so I did. I took this social work course, and my marks were fairly good. My marks were fairly good, and I was good at public speaking. I enjoyed it. I liked to speak my piece, and I was very truthful and factual and kind of like in your face type of person. And I think he respected that in me. And that was the first time in my whole life that I'd really been acknowledged for the intellect that I had. Not you know put down as the person that didn't matter, and the person that wasn't pretty enough, wasn't smart enough, and wasn't part of the clan, right? No, I wasn't unwanted in that scenario. And so I thrived. I thrived. I even remember I couldn't get a babysitter this one day, and I had a test. And there was no way in hell I was not taking that test. And I remember I had my youngest daughter, my middle child. She was such a cutie, little cutie. She came to class with me, and everybody loved her. The teacher allowed it because he realized the scenario that was taking place in my life. And so he allowed it. And he was enamored by my daughter. He thought she was the most beautiful, cutest, prettiest, intelligent little girl that he had ever seen. He was just enamored by her. The whole class was. And so she thrived. I mean, she came with me to class. I did my test, and yeah, I passed it with flying colors, trust me. And so that dynamic kind of continued when I was going, and it was a college program at that point. So I have a lot of education after that, but at that point when I was raising the kids, it was a college program. However, I remember a graduation. I took all my kids and the fella that I was seeing at the time, and he actually videotaped it. It's the cutest thing. I wish I could find the tape, but I put the tape in storage at a friend's house, and I'm pretty sure they taped over it because I haven't been able to find it. And back in those days, it was a VCR tape, right? So, and they taped a movie over it. That's how. Anyway, it was heartbreaking, but the kids were taped, and my kids would always stand like little soldiers, right? Like the tallest one here, and then that my middle one, and then my last one, kind of like a little step ladder. And I remember my son was fooling around, and they were doing the ceremony, and we were watching it, and it was the other classes that were getting their names read out, and they were getting their trophies. And I was waiting for the social work course to be called to the stage, and everything was really quiet in the auditorium, and my son was fooling around, and my daughter, she had this cute little lilt to her voice, and she went, "Chom, stop it!" And everybody turned to look. It was the cutest little thing. I got so many little laughs, and they just loved it. They loved it. My kids were absolutely adorable. They still are at times. A little bit frustrating, but adorable. Anyhow, so that part of my story, okay, I had to put that out there. But I was looking through my family tree book, and I bought this for the kids. So I was looking through it, and I found a certificate that I got, and I'm very proud of this. Sorry, this thing is just in the way. Very proud of this. Okay, so I was in 1992, in the course that I was in. We were graduating. I received this letter prior to graduation. Now, think of this. This is a woman who is a single mother, who's struggling financially, who, the church actually paid for me to enter this program, okay? And I think I did them proud. I really do. I think I did them proud. They paid for it. So my dynamic at that point in time was pretty low scale. And I received this letter. Now, listen. I hope I don't cry because I forgot all about it. So people were acknowledging the fact that I put effort in. Okay, so listen. And my name is Mary, so that's all I'm going to tell you. Okay, so dear Mary, the valedictorian selection committee has received your name as a candidate for the School of Renfrew County 1992 valedictorian. Yeah, I was so excited about this. The committee met on March the 31st to establish the criteria by which a valedictorian will be chosen. And we are now inviting you to an interview. And then they gave the date and the time, right? And we look forward to hearing a draft of your valedictorian address. So this letter was sent to me, and it was the first acknowledgement of the fact that I actually had a brain to do. Okay, that's how I grew up. That's how I was raised. So my intellect was not nurtured appropriately. Okay, now in the 70s, I was encouraged to get involved in all sorts of sports and stuff. But I think now I don't have I don't have a connection to my paternal side. Okay, that excuse me, information was hidden from me, and that person has since passed and taking that information with them. Okay, so there's a whole dynamic that's taking place here where I'm going to get a DNA test, I think it's called, those paternity tests. Anyway, I'm going to get a test to find out who I really am as a person. And so this was the first acknowledgement of the fact that I was actually somebody. I wasn't a reject. I wasn't a discarded child. So I kept this. I kept this letter. I did. I kept it. And I would like to put it in a frame, but that might be pushing it. But yeah, so I was actually chosen as a valedictorian for my graduating class. However, I was going through a hard time, and I did lose my housing at that point in time. And it was shortly after my graduation that I had to find alternative living circumstances for myself and my children. And so I took that diploma and I left with it. I left the area. So I didn't make it to the valedictorian meeting, and so um, my request from them to become valedictorian. Uh, so my chance to become valedictorian was based on this valedictorian address that I had to write. And at that point in time, I had a lot of things taking place in my life, including lack of housing. And the fact that I had to find other housing, alternative housing, and a job, right? So there was a lot of things taking place. So I didn't get up on the podium. It wasn't me that got up on the podium, and it was due to my circumstances. I wasn't able to make that initial interview meeting for them to hear my valedictorian address. So, it was heartbreaking. I never really got over it. I would have loved to stand up on the podium and, you know, say my piece and maybe encourage other women who are dealing with the same thing that I was at that time to continue their education. So that is something that I don't even think my kids know. We never talk about the past because I believe in moving into the future, and the past makes you who you are, whether it's your indiscretions, whether it's your achievements, acknowledgments, whatever it may be, okay? It makes you who you are. And the strength that I have in my persona, I gleamed from my past. I gleamed from the things that I went through. And so, I don't really dwell in the past. I try not to. There's a few things I do hang on to. However, I wanted to talk about the fact that this letter I got is the fact that I was acknowledged by the people in my class. There was a vote. I think there was a vote. There was 2 people chosen, and my name was garnered, and it was sent to those in a position of power, mine and one other individual. And when I didn't attend the meeting, that individual stepped forward and did the valedictorian address. But here's proof, right here, all in writing, right? That, yeah, I was chosen for valedictorian for my social work class. And that is something that gives me, it gives me a feeling of fulfillment. It gives me a feeling of, you know what, I have achieved. I am an achiever. So those people who said that I reject, that I wasn't wanted, that I didn't belong, okay? Maybe I didn't belong in your circle of energy, in your group of people, but I do belong to this world, and I do belong to the divine. And this is a, acknowledgement of the fact that I have a pretty good head on my shoulders. I really do. So I'm not an idiot. I'm not a moron. And this is proof. So I just wanted to, excuse me, I don't know why I've got a tickle in my throat. Big guy sending me down saying, don't be egotistical. But that's the point. The point is that people will, if you love yourself and you're respectful of yourself and you love, like, I love my hair, I love my eyes, I love my schnoggin. My face fits together. It belongs together. The parts that are on my face, it's like a puzzle, and it's a perfect fit for me. Okay, so I do display self-love. Yeah, of course I do. I didn't for many years. Many years I'd look in the mirror and I hated that person. I drank heavy to forget some of the things that happened to me. I smoked like a chimney, like one right after the other. I didn't have close connections to other people, especially women, because I didn't trust them. And there's just a part of me in my life that, yeah, I still don't. I don't have a lot of close friends, but, I have a hard time to trust people. But as I said, those are the things that make me who I am and make me determined. to change my life. And I believe that I have. I'm happy, I'm serene, my home is calm. Uh, there's no placating or blaming or shouting or screaming in my home. This is what I want. This is the sense of serenity that I want, and I've got it. But this video is about the things that I am acknowledging that I did. So it's about self-love. It's not about my ego and someone giving me a pat on the back for being, chosen as a valedictorian, but it is acknowledgement of the fact that I was chosen. I was. There was people in this world that looked at me and said, you know what? You've got what it takes, girl. Not too many people have. So this is acknowledgement of that fact, and I am going to honor the things that I have done in my life throughout this month in my videos. So I shall see you on the next video. The good Lord be willing. And there's a lot of stories coming, so I'll see you in the next video. Namaste. Bye-bye.